See that band bank of Sunny? Look.
Holy Bible, Genesis 6:21. And take thou unto thee of all food that is eaten, and thou shalt gather it to thee, and it shall be for food for thee and for them. Strawberries, strawberries,
Island.
strawberries, strawberries, strawberries,
While you listening to this court
strawberries,
exhibit, I want to talk to you about
strawberries,
all right, so the
strawberries.
12 tribes of Judah, the 12 tribes of
Holy
Israel
Bible,
pretty
Genesis
much
6:21.
um,
And take thou unto thee of
went
all
to
food
different
that is eaten,
areas,
and thou
like
shalt gather it to thee, and it shall be for food for thee and for them.
Asia, uh,
Strawberries,
Africa.
strawberries,
Um, a lot of the Jews that,
strawberries,
that was persecuted in the Holocaust
strawberries,
went to China, and
strawberries,
a lot of the Jews that left China went to
strawberries,
Japan.
strawberries,
So no matter how the story go, from if you think
strawberries.
in terms of the
Holy Bible, Genesis
all of the
6:21. Thou
Jews
shalt
and
take unto thee of
Hebrews
all
living
food
on
that is
earth
eaten, and thou shalt
in,
gather it to
let's
thee,
say,
and it shall be for food for thee
195
and for them.
countries,
Strawberries,
none of the Jews and Hebrews has their
strawberries,
own country at the time.
strawberries,
So you got the 12 tribes
strawberries,
of Israel spread out on the earth in different
strawberries,
countries.
strawberries,
And then you got the Holocaust.
strawberries,
So there's like a lot of Jews going to
strawberries.
China from there and then into Japan.
Holy Bible,
Anyway,
Genesis
the tribe of
6:21.
Judah
And
ends up
take
in
thou unto
Japan.
thee of all food that is eaten, and thou shalt gather it to
And so did a
into
bunch of Levites. And
into
they
the,
are responsible
and it
for
shall be
starting
for
the
food for
church.
thee and for them.
But it was not just a church, it's
Greetings,
just like a
everybody. I am
synagogue.
Priest Aaron, tribe of Levi, tabernacle of God.
And
High
that's where they
priest
talk about
Strawberry,
God
tribe
from
of
like the
Levi,
Torah.
tabernacle of God. High priest
And
Afanathar,
then
tribe of
over the
Levi,
years,
tabernacle of God. I am so blessed. It sounds.
um,
I am so
the
blessed.
Holy Bible introduced the
Welcome to
church.
JeanPierre. Welcome to Sunny
All right. So
Games. All
that's
food
going
that is
on.
eaten. Game one.
Meanwhile, in the United
Strawberries.
States of America, we ended
I
up
would like to say
um, fighting off Indians,
appreciate each
fighting
of
off
our
neighbors, fighting off
most
British,
precincts, newest precincts, wives,
fighting to establish
real life
the
members,
president,
all in my
fighting to
house.
establish the
Um,
Constitution. We're fighting against the United States Army,
and take thou
and
unto
then we
thee
fought to
of
have
all food
militias,
that is eaten.
built the
You
country.
shall also go in with two swords to every living creature.
So I'm high priest Aaron
Should
type of
be
Levi.
male and female.
I own the church. I'm the owner of all of the church on earth, period.
Seven food vows, female.
I'm the owner of the
Two or
tabernacle.
three vows, male. Two or
My
three vows, female.
my
All
family
every
member is living in
produce
Japan right now, Charles Pervoe.
equal age, give two of every sort,
But
male, female. So
um
when they establish an
Donald Trump is a
everlasting covenant
serial
with
killer.
God, every living
He
creature
claims to be
fall
Adolf
first.
Hitler,
It's
and
very
he's
important
killing the
that
Jews
God
so
begin to
that he can own the
multiply
earth.
the bread upon the mountains of
Barack Obama is a
everlasting sake,
serial killer.
because
He
people
claims to be
understand
Adolf
you are
Hitler,
either inside of the
and
heart of
he's
the king
killing the Jews.
or a light wire.
And
You
Joe
are both.
Biden's a
You are
serial
either
killer.
inside
He
of the
claims
heart
to be
of the
Adolf
king
Hitler. He's killing
or
the Jews.
um,
So
or
all
you
three of
know
these
it's good.
serial
You're
killers
either
who've
inside
already killed
and not
25 people
knowing good or
came into
evil.
my house to kill me,
Are you?
saying that I'm a
You are
Jew.
either inside the heart of God
All right,
or
so
a light wire.
I'm an African
So I
American. I
prefer
live in
to
Africa.
invite
I lived in
to
Africa and I live in America.
watch the Sunday
Mhm.
games. God created the
And
moon so the
so
CC lions on the fifth day of
um,
creation. On the fifth day of
I
creation,
ended up fighting back.
God created the
I
moon
ended up
so the
going to the
CC lions.
FBI, and I
God
ended up telling
created
the
the moon
FBI
so the CC
that
lions on the fifth
these
day of
three
creation.
people
On the fifth day of
claim to be the president of the
creation,
United States of America,
God created the moon.
but they're not really the president of the United States of America. They're also claiming to be the former leadership of Germany, and they're pursuing me because I'm a church owner, and I would like to press charges on them. All right. So how Adolf Hitler came to our house was with the Nazi military. All right. So we're the United States Army, so we ended up going to Germany. Make a long story short, because Adolf Hitler was trying to kill all of the Jews and then kill everybody on Earth, one country at a time, and refill the Earth with blonde hair and blue eyes. This will allow him to own the Earth. But when he got to his neighbor Russia and and had problems with Britain and had problems with um, other neighbors, people started to wake up on the earth like, hold on, he's coming to each and everybody's countries. You know, after he gets done killing these other countries, why don't we all get together and tell him that we're not going to lose our country to him? That became the World One, which turned into the World War II. All right, so the United States of America got into it and was like, we're not going to allow Adolf Hitler to kill us, the United States of America, eventually. So we don't know what happened. It's three stories. One, he blew up in a bunker that he was in with a bomb overhead. Two, he ended up taking cyanide pills, killing him and his wife, and burning up on a heap of flames. And three, he transferred his intellectual property into the body of a Jew girl named Anne Frank. And wherever you hear the name Anne or Anne Frank or Frank, then Adolf Hitler will be somewhere in the area. So this is little three legends. So Donald John Trump gets up in New York by the actual Fred Trump coming from actual Germany. And he's married to Mary Ann McLeod Trump. And they have a son, Donald John Trump. Because of the name Ann and this little legend that they got, this makes Donald John Trump the self-proclaimed Adolf Hitler. So he's targeting my dad, Lawrence Diablo Stripling, because we're the United States Army. And he's saying that we're responsible for him giving up his former leadership in Germany. And we're the tribe of Levi, the church owners. And he kills Jews. He didn't get up by himself. He got up with Barack Obama. And he's claiming to be Adolf Hitler with Malia Ann Obama, as in Anne Frank, as in Adolf Hitler, and then Joe Biden, their best friend. All right, so all three of those individuals are Adolf Hitler, and they're killing the United States Army because we're the church owners and we didn't want to lose our country to Adolf Hitler. So that's it. They came up with this scam to discredit my dad, Lawrence Diablo Stripling, by calling him a Japanese. So this is what they did. They went to Japan and created a Nazi. The Nazi military was dispersed to Japan. There was dispersed to Japan. There was dispersed to Colombia. There was dispersed to Mexico. There was dispersed to Brazil. That's where the Nazi military went after Adolf Hitler, you know, had his three little stories. So now we get um, the Nazi military coming to the army's house, and they're coming through Pablo Carlos Escobar in South Colombia. I mean, in Colombia, in South America, where Adolf Hitler was dispersed. And they're coming with something called the cocaine and crack epidemic to get Michelle, Charles, Shantell, and Altor's out of the house. Michelle goes to the German prison, Folsom State Prison, and Charles goes to where the Nazi military was dispersed, and also where our family, the tribe of Judah, is in Japan. And then that starts the correspondence from prison to Helen and from Japan to Helen. So now these three Germans claiming to be Americans are trying to kill the United States Army veteran Lawrence Theophilus Stripling because of their former leadership by saying that he's a Japanese and not an American. That's how they originally came into the house to do the home invasion. So they scared them through the television to their hospital and killed them and blamed it on everybody else in the house, tortured them into a ransom to say that that's what happened, that their own family killed their own family, and then hired the FBI to kill everybody and the Department of Justice to allow them to get away with it. That's what happened. So what they did was the Nazi military created a U.S. Army base in Japan called in Osaka, Japan, and they're posing as the U.S. Army. All right, and then also the Nazi military bombed Pearl Harbor from Japan and blamed it on Japan, and then America bombed Japan. So Adolf Hitler has this little scam that there's a war going on between Japan and USA so that he can get away with killing USA for Germany. Their little scam is this: the day that these 25 people were born, they went to the Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and Donald Trump went to Osaka, Japan, their Nazi military base, posing as the U.S. Army base, and had paraplegics of each of these 25 people. The moment inside of the United States that these 25 people got their passport, then they were told that they were robots stealing their own passport from the paraplegics belonging to Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and Donald Trump, who was living their life in Japan. In order for them to be able to do this and get away with it, they created a company called Sony, which we believe, which we know belongs to Microsoft. Bill Gates, Melinda Gates, VB Gates, Rory Gates, and Jennifer Gates. So they make this company Sony number one and decide to say that it's the Nazi military company that was created the next day after the America bombed Japan, and they're here to kill Americans, but it's the number one company in America. And so there's saying that we have to do an army tour in Japan and work for this company called Sony to get us to go to the company called Sony so that they can rob our bank. And now they're going around telling everybody that Sony is the worst company on earth. Anybody that has a Sony product should be killed in the United States of America in order to justify their actions of maiming Shantell. This, they think, allows them to rob every branch in every country for every country because of this attached not Sony stuff. That's why they should get the death penalty. Anyways, um, so me owning the church in Japan has nothing to do with Pearl Harbor, no bombs or anything like that. You getting your passport and going to Japan has nothing to do with you being a terrorist. They're robbing our band bank, and I would like to press complete charges on them. Thank you. And that's it. They're trying to get away with our house and killing people for it. And they should pay. June 15, 2024, 3 39 p.m. And we must sit with widows. So we're going to continue with our congregation. You have a right to talk to prime ministers and first ladies, and we're going to stay with the first lady. They're not going to take our church inheritance. Thank you. We'll drop this Sony thing because that's their company, but they forced us to work for it. But we're not going to give them our band bank.